Jamie at Hexhead. Wanted to show you guys one of our latest projects. So we're going to kind of take this from beginning to end, kind of show you a little bit about how we put these things together. This is for Purdue University. This is their construction and engineering department. This, believe it or not, is an artist rendering, graphic design rendering. It looks pretty amazing. They want us to make some artwork that looks just like it. So of course that's a challenge. There's a lot going on here. The bolts, the finishes on the steel are very, very funky. This is kind of an aluminum finish, so you can see how complicated it can get. We actually create our own renderings, some different renderings for the customer. Of course they didn't use any of these. We just kind of put these together just for their own benefit. At the end of the day, what they really want is they want it to look just like their original artwork, and that's what we're trying to put together for them. So in order to make this as authentic as possible, look just exactly like their artwork the best that we can, we've got to get the right kind of materials together. So as you noticed in that artwork, we had some huge bolts coming through. I think there were 14 on top, 14 on bottom. So we had to, of course, source some of this different material here to be able to make that happen. We've got big 1-inch nuts, lock nuts that'll go along the back to lock that in. We're going to have to cut all this all thread. This is very heavy. It's going to be a pretty solid piece. We also have cut the lettering that you saw, that funky aluminum lettering. So this is looks like it's a little bit over 3/8, but this is aluminum. We're going to put some different finishes on it to be able to make it look worn. When we do that, what we do is create some samples. So this is just my preliminary sample. The artwork's going to look nothing like this. What I'm working on here is just finishes. How am I going to get my grooves? What are the basics of my color going to look like? Where I just kind of work the art out. Some of these different scratches. How am I going to get some different distress to look exactly like the picture? And then when we cut it out, we grind it, start to paint it. And really it just comes down to art at that point, make it match. So anytime we start on a project, once the steel is cut, all of the engineering is complete, we have all of our instructions for how we're going to do it. The very first thing we have to do is prep. So we always just have to prep first. And that is grinding the back. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put some grooves in it. So that piece had some really deep texture to it, and then there was some black in there, and then it had some cross-hatching, some different distressed looks. So I've got to start with what the piece would have started with originally, which is a very rough cut piece of steel with a lot of linear grain. So to get that kind of grain, I need to use a belt sander so I can really get in there. I don't want it to have any kind of swirl marks at all, but I also can't really move the belt sander around this way, so I need to be able to move it all the way through the piece back and forth in order to get that consistent linear look that I want. Once I get this finished, I'll put some additional little elements in there. I like this where I've got some of the staining coming through. That's all going to be perfect for when I put this together in the end. And so some of that is just taking whatever the steel is giving you. So when we go to paint this, I'll hope that some of that little marbling look comes through. Hey, we're back on this boiler built piece. As you can see, we've put some different distress in the steel to make it look like the picture. A lot of linear lines. We've got some really deep grooves in here. Now we're going to apply some black paint, and then we're going to work on that black paint in order to get the finish that we want. So what's going to happen is this paint is going to settle into the grooves of the steel. Then we're going to treat it with some chemicals, sand it, so that you'll get all those deep black grooves in. We'll distress it a little bit more and see if we can't get it to mimic their original art. All right, we've just about got it where it looks good. And as you can see to the picture, it's really close. We're going to put some more final touches on this, break it, and really pull this up on the computer and make sure that we got it exactly the way we want it to be. Hey, we're in the final assembly part of our process here. So we've taken all of our all-thread and bolts. They're ready to go. Just need to put our lock bolt on the back side. All of our letters have been finished out. See that we did get them very close to the original artwork. And so now we're just going to assemble. So what we did for the assembly is we tapped into the back of these, we put some anchors. We're going to use these hex head nuts, appropriately named for our spacing, and then all we have to do is just put it together. Well, we finished the boiler built project. We are really excited to show you what it looks like. If you'll remember how we started, this was the original design that the customer had sent us. It's a real challenge. How are we going to do that? From an artistic standpoint and an engineering angle, how do you make it exactly like the customer wants it? And this is the finished product. And we couldn't be happier. Really, the details are there. The scale is perfect with what the customer sent us, and really think they're going to like it. If you want to take a look at it in person, you can go to Purdue University, their construction department, and they'll have this up on the wall. If you'd like for us to make something for your business, just send us your logo. Check us out at hexheadart.com.